and the readings will now be given by Elizabeth from Georgia.
The Bible. Proverbs. The integrity of the upright shall guide them. Philippians. Do all things without murmurings and disputings, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. Genesis. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him. And they took him, and cast him into a pit. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled, and got him out. When his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him, and put him into the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hands all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, Can we find such a one as this, a man in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Forasmuch as God hath showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. And Joseph saw his brethren. And Joseph said unto his brethren, Come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. And he said, I am Joseph your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither. For God did send me before you to preserve life. Romans. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. I will read correlative passages from Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures and prose works by Mary Baker Eddy. Man's real life or existence is in harmony with life and its glorious phenomena. It upholds being and destroys the too common sense of its opposites, death, disease, and sin. Christian Science is an everlasting victor, and vanquishment is unknown to the omnipresent truth. I must ever follow this line of light and battle. Joseph. A higher sense of truth, rebuking mortal belief or error, and showing the immortality and supremacy of truth. Pure affection, blessing its enemies. We are to work out our own salvation, relying not on the person of God or the person of man to do our work for us, but on the apostles' rule, I will show thee my faith by my works. This spiritualism would lead our lives to higher issues. It would purify, elevate, and consecrate man. It would teach him that whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. We are responsible for our thoughts and acts, and instead of aiding other people's devices by obeying them and then whining over misfortune, rise and overthrow both. If a criminal coax the unwary man to commit a crime, our laws punish the dupe as accessory to the fact. Each individual is responsible for himself. Believing that man is the victim of his maker, we naturally fear God more than we love him. Whereas perfect love casteth out fear. But when we learn God aright, we love him, because he is found altogether lovely. Thus it is that a more spiritual and true ideal of deity improves the race physically and spiritually. God is no longer a mystery to the Christian Scientist, but a divine principle, understood in part, because the grand realities of life and truth are found destroying sin, sickness, and death. And it should no longer be deemed treason to understand God, when the Scriptures enjoin us to acquaint now thyself with him, God, and be at peace. We should understand something of that great good for which we are to leave all else. To suppose that God constitutes laws of inharmony is a mistake. Discords have no support from nature or divine law, however much is said to the contrary. All that is God created. If sin has any pretense of existence, God is responsible therefore. But there is no reality in sin, for God can no more behold it or acknowledge it than the sun can coexist with darkness. Mental darkness is senseless error, neither intelligence nor power, and its victim is responsible for its supposititious presence. cast the beam out of thine own eye. Animal magnetism, in its ascending steps of evil, entices its victim by unseen, silent arguments. Reversing the modes of good, in their silent allurements to health and holiness, it impels mortal mind into error of thought and tempts into the committal of acts foreign to the natural inclinations. The victims lose their individuality and lend themselves as willing tools to carry out the designs of their worst enemies, even those who would induce their self-destruction. Animal magnetism fosters suspicious distrust where honor is due, fear where courage should be strongest, reliance where there should be avoidance, a belief in safety where there is most danger. And these miserable lies, poured constantly into his mind, fret and confuse it, spoiling that individual's disposition, undermining his health, and sealing his doom, unless the cause of the mischief is found out and destroyed. The great fact that God lovingly governs all, never punishing aught but sin, is your standpoint from which to advance and destroy the human fear of sickness. Mentally and silently plead the case scientifically for truth. You may vary the arguments to meet the peculiar or general symptoms of the case you treat, but be thoroughly persuaded in your own mind concerning the truth which you think or speak, and you will be the victor. Whatever envy, hatred, revenge, the most remorseless motives that govern mortal mind, whatever these try to do, shall work together for good to them that love God. Why? Because he has called his own, armed them, equipped them, and furnished them defenses impregnable. Their God will not let them be lost, and if they fall, they shall rise again, stronger than before the stumble. The good cannot lose their God, their help in times of trouble. If they mistake the divine command, they will recover it, countermand their order, retrace their steps, and reinstate his orders, more sure to press on safely. The best lesson of their lives is gained by crossing swords with temptation, with fear and the besetments of evil, insomuch as they thereby have tried their strength and proven it, insomuch as they have found their strength made perfect in weakness, and their fear is self-immolated. At all times and under all circumstances, overcome evil with good. Know thyself, and God will supply the wisdom and the occasion for a victory over evil. Clad in the panoply of love, human hatred cannot reach you.